What can we learn from in-season scouting at the roots to make in-season decisions? I'm Brandon Issacs, Regional Sales Director with TEVA, and today we're going to talk about what we can do in season and make adjustments on what we're seeing below the ground. Most everybody falls into the habit of looking at just what's happening above the ground, especially when they're scouting corn. But we need to remember that everything that's happening above the ground is just a reflection of what's happening below the ground. So doesn't it make more sense to actually look below the ground to see what's going on? So I have a picture of a corn plant here, the base of a corn plant, and these are just some ideas that you can do in season. It's very low tech. All you really need is a shovel and a knife, and you can kind of get an idea of what it is that we want to try to approach timing wise, things that we might want to push or even back off and save some dollars. So the first thing I'll kind of break down here is your nodal root system and how this is actually going to form. At the base, you'll have your seed, and the first thing that comes out of your seed as far as this root system is actually going to be your seminal root system. And your seminal root system is going to look just very skinny. They might have one or two roots coming off the seed, and they're going to typically go down. And that's what that plant's going to feed off of until about V2. After V2, you'll start seeing your first nodal roots coming out from the base of the plant. And you can actually have up to 6 of those roots around. And they're going to be about the thickness of a needle, and those are going to kind of set the stage on how we've done so far. So typically around V2, V3, you'll see that, and at that point, if we have maxed out that 6 roots around, that's when we can start making decisions on, okay, is this crop still living up to its potential, or has it kind of fallen by the wayside? And maybe we want to back off a little bit of our plan that we had put initially together at the beginning of the season. And then once we start getting to our second nodal root system, or your second nodal root around there, that one can actually max out at 10 roots around. And that is where we start getting into the V3, V4 discussion on the plant. And at that point, we're making a lot of decisions with nitrogen, possibly potassium, maybe a foliar feeding is in the near future. And if we are seeing, for instance, maybe 5 of those roots around, that's where we might want to back off a little bit. Maybe we've had wet feet, maybe it's been excessively dry after germination and we just didn't get that root system established. So if we're seeing that, that's how we can make a decision in season. Now, on the other hand, if we're seeing 8, 9, 10, hey, that plant's living up to its potential. It's still got plenty left to go. Let's not back off of it. Let's actually feed that thing and keep it thriving through the rest of the season. Your third nodal root, you'll start seeing somewhere around V4 to V5. That is when that plant is starting to go 100 miles per hour every day. It's going to be feeding. And that's where we need to have already made our decision on, we're going to push it to this many pounds of nitrogen. Are we going to do a foliar? Are we going to do fungicide? Are we going to do multiple micronutrients and maybe even some macronutrients? That we need to already have planned, because whenever we start hitting this third nodal root and head into the fourth nodal root, timing is of the essence. We can't sit around and wait and decide what we're going to do. Once we've already seen the potential on these, which on your third nodal root, that one will also max out at about 14 around. If we are seeing 10 plus, there's no reason to back off the crop. It has plenty of potential. Your fourth nodal root, to give you an idea, if that fourth nodal root is about a ½ inch or less, you're going to have time to make your decision on, say you're going to Y drop, say you were going to side dress nitrogen. The only thing I would say is if you're going to do some kind of top dressing with urea, for instance, I would do that before you start seeing your fourth nodal root, just to give yourself time. And then your fifth nodal root, you're typically going to see that somewhere between V8 and V10. That one we want to have at the soil surface or below. And as far as a max number on those, it typically can go up to about 16 roots around. And the reason I say that you want to have it at the root or the soil surface or below, it's a temperature thing. If you have anything above 80 degrees soil temperature on those root hairs on that fifth node, it actually will start burning those root hairs off. And of course, those are mouths. Those are what's feeding the plant. So if you are seeing where you have that maybe at the surface or a little higher, hey, that's something that we can use for next year. We can try different planting depths, or maybe we have an issue with the planter itself. Different adjustments we can make sure next year we don't see that. And on the same token, if that root is quite a bit below the soil surface, maybe we're planting a little too deep. Maybe we had some issues with germination or something like that. So a lot of these things you can actually figure out in season with not a whole lot of technology. It's, like I said, it only requires a shovel and a knife, and you can actually get a good idea of how that plant's doing and make decisions in season on what you want to spend, and maybe if you do want to back off the crop a little bit and sleep a little easier at night about it. On any of this stuff, we're glad to talk with you on farm. I do a lot in the field with guys in season, digging plants up and really breaking this thing down. So by all means, get a hold of us, and we're happy to set foot on the farm and help make sense of all this.